Hey guys, it's me again, Alternative Voice. I figured I would discuss with y'all why I think the Second Amendment should be expanded, not restricted, limited, or whatever. See, when our founding father they wrote the Bill of Rights, they put the Second Amendment in there, and there are people these days going, they had muskets, they didn't have AR-15s invented yet. Well, guess what? They intended for you to have fucking cannons, artillery pieces in your fucking barn. So that whole thing about, they didn't have AR-15s back then is some bullshit. It's just a bullshit argument. And if they really cared about citizens' lives and didn't want people to die by firearms anymore, they would be going after handguns because handguns are what causes the majority of gun deaths in this country. And they are also, and to be fair, I will admit, they are the most popular homicide weapon. Not by far, but the most popular. And you want to, and mass shootings do not occur that often. They actually occur for very few of the overall homicide deaths in this country. But I bet you're probably wondering, why the hell does the government not want to ban handguns? Why do they want to ban AR-15s and AK-47s and SKSs and guns like that? Well, I'll explain it to you. You see, they're not doing it to protect you. You are not a concern to them. They want to protect themselves from you. They have a whole bunch of armed security to hide behind, and they don't want people because they don't want the people to have guns that they might use to take them out, and if they get out of hand. Because you see, the thing is that argument that Biden made. Now, contrary to popular belief, people who have seen my previous videos, you probably think I'm some sort of Biden fan. I'm not. I just don't like Trump, who is even more tyrannical than Biden is. But anyway, this isn't an issue. This isn't a thing about Trump versus Biden. It's about guns. See, Biden went, and for those brave right-wing Americans who say that they need to protect and safeguard America's liberty, you're going to need an F-15 if you're going to fight a government. You need something a little more than a gun. I don't think the Taliban had much of an air force, but they still won, I'm pretty sure. Now, to be fair, the North Vietnamese, they did have an air force. It was nothing compared to what the U.S. could bring to bear, but they had an air force, and yes, they won again. See, insurgencies are a very underrated and very effective method of warfare. The French in Algeria went up against an insurgency. They lost. They went up against an insurgency of Vietnam. They lost. The United States went up against an insurgency in Vietnam. We lost. We went up against a insurgency in Afghanistan, and we lost. Not only that, the Soviet Union went up against an insurgency in Afghanistan also. They lost. The Russians went up against an insurgency in the First Chechen War. They lost. The Israelis went up against an insurgency in South Lebanon. They lost. And as we can see, insurgencies have taken down professional militaries. Well, not taken them down, but successfully resisted professional militaries for decades now. However, the fact still remains that, they are not trying to protect themselves. They are trying to protect themselves, not you. Anyhow, every weapon that can be handheld should be in the hands of, the people. I mean, if you can afford an M1, I mean, we can discuss whether or not you can own an M1 Abrams, but that'd be ridiculously expensive. I personally wouldn't want one because it's way too impractical. That being said, I believe that, Americans should be allowed to own belt-fed machine guns, anti-material rifles, and rocket launchers like the RPG and AT-4. Hell, even Stinger and Javelin missiles. And you see, as has been said before, it's not people who should fear their governments. It's the government who should fear their people. That's the way it should be, And but I know that there are a lot of communists, fascists, and all that stuff who would love to see this government take a more authoritarian turn. But keep in mind, they will come for you eventually. Eventually, you will slip up, and they're not going to like that. No, it won't go unpunished. Do not think you will not be on the naughty end of a dictatorship one day. Also, the thing about it is that I hear Moulin Labe and Thin Blue Line mixed together, along with the government is running concentration camps and the police are the only ones who should have guns. You, my friend, if you believe either of those two things, or maybe even both of those two things, if you think that those aren't oxymorons, you are brainwashed totally and completely. See, the reason they have a bunch of rules about who can and can't have weapons now. There's the National Firearms Act, which has been in place for decades. There is the Gun Control Act of 1968, which has also been in effect for, as you might have guessed, a pretty long time. However, despite the fact that these unconstitutional policies have been in place for decades, it is up to us to get rid of them. We need to expand the Second Amendment. We need to go on the attack. We need to advocate for, a private citizen should be able to own belt-fed weapons, as well as anti-tank weapons. And, like I said before, that's how this country was founded, by insurgents. The only people who have ever really beaten this country are insurgents. And you see, the powers that be, the establishment, they know that. That's why they're trying to take away the guns. But we need to advocate for the rights of everyone to own guns. I am no compromise. Any person who is free and not in prison or jail should be allowed to own and possess a firearm. There shouldn't be, a need for a concealed carry license. It's a right, And an armed society is a polite society. And they say that for a reason. It's like, when I went to Lobby Day in Virginia in early 2020, I saw everybody united, everybody getting along, and nobody acting crazy. Governor Northam thought it would be another Charlottesville. In fact, he was hoping it would be another Charlottesville, but it wasn't. Because you see, the thing is mass shootings, which again count for a very small number of gun-related homicides, only occur and only work out when one side has guns. There have been multiple cases of would-be mass shooters being turned back or killed because the other side had guns. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be good, y'all.